Bonjour, comment ça va? Comment ça va? Très bien. I'm good. You're good. I hope everybody's good. I tell you, it's been a good week for me at least. Korea's doing quite well with the coronavirus, pushing it down. Everybody's been getting ready to reopen, and I'm ready. That's for sure. Today we're going to do some classical cooking, French cooking once again. And what I'm doing today is what we're going to do in class. So pay really close attention to it. Okay, so it is a little complex. There's many layers going on. And once again, my eggs are cooking. I'm cooking eggs for hard-boiled eggs for a side dish we're going to be making. I already started some of my prep because this does take a while. Now we're going to be doing turbans of sole. And duxelle stuffed turbans of sole with lemon butter sauce. Right? Don't worry about this yet. We'll talk about more of that later. I just wanted to show you the title of what we're doing. But the first thing we're going to have to do is make the duxelle, and that's where it takes some time to do. With most classical cooking, it always takes a while to make such things. So here, once again, you can stop it, copy this down, right? This duxelle, whole butter, shallots, mushrooms, fresh parsley, thyme, salt and pepper. Sounds fairly simple. It's a small amount of ingredients, but the preparation is the hard part, which once again you will see when I start getting ready for it. Okay, up we go. Now, when it comes to the mushrooms, usually you use what we call button mushrooms. Yansogi basak? Yansogi basak, okay. Okay, these are, what I did, I got some what you call pine mushrooms. Now, these will work just as well. I like these personally. I like that chewiness to it. We're really not going to need the caps. You really won't need the caps today. But what I'll probably do is saute these up and have for dinner. That's for sure. These going, just clean them up a bit, and honey. Now, if you ever had these wild pine mushrooms, oh, wonderful, absolutely wonderful. Any wild mushroom is fine. Right. Let's let me check on my eggs and turn them down a bit. Right. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take this, I'm going to julienne, fine julienne, but really fine. You really want to cut thin, paper thin. In class, I'm not sure what mushrooms we're going to use. We'll see what's available. I tried to get shallots at the market. I couldn't get any shallots. Kind of hard where I live to get things like that. Like I said, but the mushrooms doesn't matter. So julienne, see, really fine slice. We're going to cut it really fine. And then, you like playing cards. You kind of lie them out like this. And just julienne. But don't worry about it being nice and neat, because it doesn't matter. We're going to be chopping these. I mean, really chopping. Very fine. Almost making it into a paste. Right. Now, duxelle is used in a lot of French cooking. It's good for stuffing for roasts. In addition to soups, you can make a cream of mushroom soup with it. Bechamel and duxelle is a cream of mushroom soup. What else can you do with it? Vegetables, accents, garnish, anything. A lot of flavor in it, and you'll see why. Right. So now I got a fine julienne, and I'm going to be doing this. I'm going to be cutting all these. It's going to take me quite some time. Okay, so we're going to take. I'm going to have you guys take a break. Have my cameraman take a break. Just one question, one note. A student asked me about classical music playing from the basic Western cooking courses. He was playing classical music, and the reason why, I mean, a lot of times kitchens play rock and roll. Trust me, when I was younger, we played a lot of rock and roll. But classical music goes with classical cuisine very well. There's a reason why classics are classics, whether it's literature or movies or music or anything like that, is they stand the test of time. They've been around for a while. people have been growing up with them and things like that. At your age now, you think, oh, that was it. Church music, sleepy music, whatever. But what it is that when you guys get older and you're in the 30s and you're dating somebody and you're serious about getting married and stuff like that, and he or she says, oh, you know what I really like? I like the Paula Betsy Dance #2 by Paladin. And you go, huh? Not a good impression. You should start learning about classical music now. It takes a lifetime. It's like drinking red wines and anything like that. The first time you might not like it, but after a while you listen to it, you begin to appreciate it. Once again, that's just a little advice to you. I'm going to be chopping these up even smaller than this, and I'm going to fade to black. We're done on this segment now. So I'm going to be chopping up, and I'll see you later. Hi guys, welcome back. Slowly coming back. Here we are. I'm still chopping my duxelle. My PD said she looked at this and she goes, "It looks like Odin with a fish paste." And it kind of does. It does. Just finishing this up. As you can see, this was a lot of chopping. That's why we took a break. Well, you took a break while I was still working. Yeah. But this is a very critical part of the dish, that's for sure. That's it. Now chopping, put your finger on the center here, you can really get some action going on this. The first day in the kitchen on the job, and you sit there and somebody says chop the parsley, and you go, okay. And then you sit there and really try away, and go, wow, that guy knows his stuff. That's it. Right? I don't know if you can see, it's pretty much of almost a paste. But once again, you don't want to do it. You want to do it by hand. You don't want to do it by machine because the machine's going to make soup out of it. And you don't want to make soup out of it. That's for sure. Now this looks like a lot of duxelle, and this is a lot of duxelle. That's for sure. But once again, most mushrooms. I don't know if I can squeeze water. There's an awful lot of liquid in mushrooms, and we're going to cook this dry, so it's going to really shrink down. When you reduce anything when you're cooking it, you're going to you reduce everything. You're going to reduce, when you reduce things, you remove moisture and water, and what you're leaving is flavor. And that's what we're looking for. We're looking for a very, very strong flavor here. I'm preheating my pan. This is where I bring out the big boy, the big cast iron. Nice and hot now, too. I preheated it on the induction because it does such a faster job, that's for sure. Turn that on, let that get a little warm. Now remember I was talking about the little pats of butter. They didn't have this is this lightly salted butter. The other one said beurre douce. This is beurre demi-sal. Demi means half salt. It's not half salt in the content. It's not half salt for sure. But it means salted butter. The reason why I use this pan is because, as you can see, it holds the heat quite well. To cook out the duxelle is going to take some time. It does take some time, but we have a lot of work to do anyway. So, if you had a thin aluminum pan, it cools off so quick, you hardly get anything done. It'll take forever with a thin aluminum pan. There's no substitute for good cookware. And aluminum is not good. Copper, yes. Iron, yes. Steel, yes. Aluminum, not there. Okay. Whoa, there's a big piece. Whoa, that is a big piece. We got any big pieces. Everything else looks fine. Turn this up. Turn this in. I'm going to just flatten it out so it gets the maximum amount of heat. And you're going to see it's going to basically cook out into a soup before we reduce it. All the moisture is going to come out of it. With any kind of classical cooking too, it takes a while. There's nothing really fast about it, that's for sure. So we're going to cook this. We're going to reduce it. It's going to turn lightly brown, just by nature of the mushrooms. And while that's going on, we're going to fillet our fish. You can see the moisture coming off it. Nice. You can already see, you can see already it reduced itself in volume. It's still putty-like. Basically, we're going to cook this dry. It's called au sec, which once again, it's a word. Oh, it's not on your list. We're gonna have to go back to some basics. I have to look at your class list. Camera to me, face. I'm gonna have to go to your class list and see how many of you guys taken the basic Western, because these terms that I use like au sec, A-U-S-E-C, is on your list. If you took Western cooking before the A class, you're gonna know exactly what au sec means, or you can look it up to find out what it means. So if you did not take Western cooking course, you might be at a little disadvantage because the other students will know what au sec means. And au sec means to dry. And we're going to cook this au sec. We're not going to cook it dry like micro dry, but we're going to cook a lot of the water out of it. So I'm going to have to take a look. I think after this cooking demonstration class, I'm going to put up the dictionary, the French cooking dictionary, so we're all on the same page once again. It's very important we understand the terms. Okay? And we're going to let that cook and pay attention to our fish. Good fish. I got it. No heads. I had a hard time finding fish with heads. I prefer with the fish with the heads, so you can tell the freshness of it by the color of the eyes, the gills, things like that. Plus, we're going to make a stock. We're going to make a fish stock. And, well, the heads have good flavor, that's for sure. Now, let me bring this over to you guys so you guys can see. All right. You see that line here? That's called the lateral line. That's actually how fish hear. That's a hearing. It's a fish ear, believe it or not. But that's the point we're going to run the knife across. Run the knife across there. Oh, my sous chef is up and about. Okay. Now, what's real important at this point, though, is your knife is sharp. So at the tip of the knife, you're going to take it, tail to head. It doesn't really matter, but I seem to prefer tail to head. Right? You cut, and you're going to just cut down lightly, using your fingers to spread the bones apart. This fish is not cleaned. Okay. Well, they're not scaled. That's interesting. Okay, I'm gonna have to scale these fish in the sink. And what I'm going to do, I think you guys also know, use the back of the knife, and I'm going to take it under running water and scrape it this way. I don't want to do it here because scales will go, the little scales will go everywhere, and you don't want that in the food. So once again, fade to black, and then we'll be back. All right. Hi guys. I hope you enjoyed that little doggy video. I just threw that in just for a little light humor. I think it was funny. My sous chef is always ready to be on the camera. That's when he was a puppy. He just celebrated his 1-year birthday. Now, if you look at the duxelle, look how it has reduced, and we're still going to cook it more. It's starting to brown, which is good. We want it brown, and we want it drier, like that way. But look how little it is now. Obviously, you can go back in the beginning of the video and see how big this was, how little it is now. Okay. So this works real well. This skillet's great for this kind of stuff. Slow cooking, long cooking. Steaks, get it hot, sear a steak on here, really, really nice. Closest thing you have to a home grill, that's for sure. Okay, you can see now it's holding its line, not so soupy. And going back to the fish, okay? I cleaned off the scales of the fish. We don't use the skin on the fish because once again, my PD goes, well, why are you doing that? You're not going to use the skin. When you're cutting it, you just start shooting scales all over the place. It's just, they're harder to clean. Okay. I got a scale stuck on that. Okay. So once again, the lateral line, the ear. You're going to just cut head to tail, tail to head. It doesn't matter. You cut into it, just down to the bone. Don't cut through the bone. I'm using my fingers to spread it apart. All right, as you can see there, I cut through. Turn it over, make sure I get cut through to the tail. Right. Now what I'm going to do, you see here, already some scales came up already. Right. I'm going to take the fish, I'm going to take my hand and hold it flat, and I'm going to pull it downwards. This way, and just take the tip of the knife, and this is not really a good tip. This type of knife, you should have more of a sharper point, but that's what I have, and that's what I use. Right? And I'm using it. I'm slowly cutting through, and I can feel the bones. I'm not cutting through the bones. I'm going underneath the bones. I mean over the bones. All right, cut now. This way, it's all the way except for this part. I'm doing the same thing. So slowly cut it away. And, 2 or 3, I'm going to take off the tail here, just make it easier. Now you can see I got that part separated. And using the tip of the knife, I'm going to be going across. There's one. Give my duxelle a stir. Nice. I love duxelle though. You'll love it too. If you like mushrooms. If you don't like mushrooms, well, it's not what you want. Turn that down a little, just because it's cooking fast and I'm doing this. Now the same thing over here. I'm going to take a hand, hold it flat, and push it down this way, but gently, using the tip of the knife, getting underneath the bones. Now the big difference in Western cooking and Korean cooking is that we don't serve bones in our fish. People get really actually upset. They will send back a whole plate if they find one little bone in the fish. So cutting fish is not only an art, a skill, but a necessity in Western cooking. We all learn how to cut fish. Okay, there's number 2. Flip it over. And you know there's 2 different, you got big sizes, small sizes. Generally, like if you're doing like this in a classical French restaurant, a nice restaurant, you're only going to use the large pieces. The small pieces you might use for other dishes. You either goujonnée, which is basically a fancy word for fried fish, or soups, salads even, poaching, you know, depending on other menus. This one you kind of need large pieces for, and you'll see why. All right, just gently, and I'm really holding the knife very lightly. I'm not holding it, so just guiding it through. It cuts very easy. And what I'm going to do after these videos, I'm going to post some review videos for you guys. Once again, we're going to be doing chicken stocks and beef stocks, and we're going to be making a fish stock. So I think it's not bad to review some of these items, plus the culinary terms. I realize a lot of times you guys kind of forget the French cooking terms that we use in class. And once again, when we're together, I want you guys to understand and use these cooking terms. Okay. Here's one fish. Here's always a good idea. Just cut the tail here. No, I'm not cutting off the tail. I'm just cutting off the meat. There's nothing there. And it's harder to get to the end here, especially on the small pieces. You can see I'm kind of fighting through to get to it. There's no really gogi there, but you want the shape. This bottom piece has very little meat on it. Look. Alright, now we go here, just cut this off here. Okay, fillets. And we got our bones, right? And what we're going to do, we're going to use this for fish stock. There's my pot. Right. We're going to rinse the bones. I'm going to cut them, just so they fit into the pot. I'm going to rinse them off. Still cook the duxelle. All right, and we'll probably pick up in the next video. What's the time, PD?
6:40 now.
That doesn't make much sense to me, but anyway, what I'm going to do, I'm going to clean the fish, and we'll do the stocks. We'll start the stocks together. But this, once again, the duxelle does take, you can see how long it takes. It takes quite some time to get to that point. I do have my mise en place. Once again, the mirepoix for fish stock is onion, carrots, celery, excuse me, bay leaf, thyme, parsley stems, tonguchu, garlic, and one more thing is missing. Let me get my scissors. I love having an indoor garden. Right there. I love having an indoor garden. And I'll rinse this off. And leeks or départ generally is what's used in it. This is called the white mirepoix because there's no carrots in it. You don't want carrots because carrots are sweet, and seafood you really don't want to make sweet. Same sachet of spice. Once again, I'm gonna re-show the videos on stock making for this class. Only because this is French cooking, it is more advanced, and you need to be refreshed onto that. Okay? Going, rolling. That's all right, guys. I'm trying to still figure out this filming thing. I tell you, it's not as easy as you think it is. That's for sure. Okay, it's not, but we try our best. We all do. I tell you, the other teachers, I tell you. You should hear what everybody has a hard time doing it. Once again, cut down, not through the bone, to the bone. That's a very important. And using a hand here, just pushing this up. Now the top side meat, once again, is much, much better. Much, much better. Much larger. Come here, just cut through here. Like I said, when we get to class, this might be our first cooking class together. And you're going to do this on your own. Well, I'll help you, of course. But you should be able to figure it out by now. This knife is not the best, as you can see. I'm kind of fighting with it, but it's good enough. There's no perfect knife. It does the job. It's a great knife up here. Okay. The duxelle, if we bring the camera over here to see the duxelle, it's getting there, nice and brown. Now it's fluffy. See how it's getting? Still want it a little drier, believe it or not. We don't want this still to clump up together. It's on a very low heat now. You could do it a little fast. I'm just doing it because I'm doing two things at once. So I turned it down lower. All right. Cut along the ear, cut to the bone, cut through. holding it back, cutting underneath. The bottom part is a lot less, that's for sure. And it always is, so nothing wrong with that. Just the nature of the beast. Now, sole and flounder, this is flounder. Kasami, I think that's a Korean word for it. Sole, I think, is a North Atlantic fish. So we don't really have sole. And sole, it's similar. It's just a little smaller. It's more longer shape and not as wide as these are. But once again, this works out quite well. Doesn't take much time to do this either. And you should see professional fish people. Boy, they go really fast with this stuff. Once again, we all know how to do this because in kitchens, you got to teach people how to do it. Like you, I'm teaching you how to do this. And you'll learn. Okay, so we're going to be finishing up this segment of the video, and then when we get back to the next part, we'll finish off the duxelle, we'll finish cleaning the fish, we'll be making the fish stock. Now review your notes, and like I said, I'll be following up with some videos on basic culinary French and basic stock making. Right, we'll cover fish stocks in the next video, but chicken and beef stock, once again, we'll be making in class and or other classes, not necessarily this particular one. Because we don't know when we're coming back into class, that's for sure. Okay, nice.
Okay.
All right. Break it, cut it, and it's a wrap.